Okay, happy place.
Happy place, back again.
Yeah, someone asked me actually this morning in our favourite bookshop, a Boccacino. She said to me, she's making my coffee, and she said, the podcast is everywhere. How's it going? You enjoying it still? And I said to her, when Nick and I open that door to the studio, we just can't stop laughing, giggling, hugging. We are so excited always to be here.
I know. It's one of those things we always say, and I know you've probably heard us say it so many times, but do what you love what you do. And we're really lucky we found that passion and we share the same passion.
We do.
Because you can't also make that happen.
No, you can't
let
make
alone
it up.
our friendship, let alone our back fence. You know,
It's
all those
true.
things are really true.
And look, honestly, you and I, ironically, and it's so bad. If you're into that, I'm happy for you. But both of us are really have embraced the mindfulness and the openness about, thinking I'm going to have to edit that.
That's okay.
But you and I very much are passionate about other people, so therefore we care. And no matter what stages and phases they're in their lives, we step up to the mark. We've naturally been like that. It's part of our DNA. And we went to Dr. Chatterjee last week. That was a really good event.
That
we
was
went
great.
To.
He was out. I don't know if you guys know him, but listen to
he's
him.
brilliant.
He's huge. Actually, I didn't realise there's about 1.6 million people on even his Instagram.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. He's a medical doctor from England, and he's all about mindset and sort of working on yourself. And I've listened to him for years, and he's actually the one how I first got. And we actually were so privileged to have her, Dr. Gladys McGarvey. She was 103 years old.
Yeah.
She's our oldest
But
guest.
she was
She's
running
now-
late
she's
for
now
the interview.
late.
Why was she?
Because she was bike riding. And I'd heard her on his podcast.
Can you believe
She's in
that?
America, and she's written a book and talk about you can do anything at every stage. We are all
It's
about
true.
reinvention.
It's so true.
She's talking about kicking ass. In
Yeah.
her 90s,
Yeah.
she was reinvented herself again. And so she actually had a top-selling book, The Well-Lived Life, in her 90s, and was still on the public speaking circuit at 103.
Yeah.
And so that
And we
was
interviewed, and she passed away not that long
ago.
after.
So it was
Bless you,
such a
Gladys.
gift. So really tune
Yeah.
back into that one. We'll put the links up
that
on
last
this
year,
show
Nicola?
too. I think it is.
Yeah,
that
it's
one.
great.
It was last
a brilliant
year.
interview. I loved it.
But back with Dr. Rangan,
Yes.
he's all about, so it was a really good one. It was at the State Theatre. So for everyone from other places, it's a beautiful
we went
theatre.
shopping in David Jones.
Yeah, we did. Exactly.
What's it got to
on
do?
our way.
Walk past it. Well, hello.
I know, you put a nice little eyeliner too, didn't you?
I had it everywhere, yeah.
Then we had actually a glass of bubbles before the show
did,
too. But it was a great show, and he was always he was talking about this one was really he went quite deep, and it was mindset, values and action, sort of like in a triangle.
Yeah.
You can't really do one without the other.
Yeah.
You need to put things into place and
Yes.
to do that. And he was a one-man
was
show.
brilliant.
And it was just a really great
You
thing.
could have heard a pin drop. It was incredible.
That's kind of what we're about. We love really all our guests and let us know who you
well,
love and
not
what you
all
like
of them.
to
I'm
hear.
joking. We love all our guests. We do.
and all our listeners, but it's also about, I guess, confidence. And the more you do, I suppose the more confidence you get in all different areas
And
of your
also
life.
confidence is like the irony in confidence. It's like even all those years I hosted a television program, underneath that, I wasn't confident.
Yeah.
And yet when I say that to people, they look at me as if I've got two heads. And I go, well, no, I actually wasn't. I was so fearful and being judged and I'm not good enough was a river of that current running underneath me. And yet I presented it this, live show with no auto cue, for an hour every day for 5 days. And everyone thought, my God, she's the most confident woman there is. So that's the irony in confidence too. And I think if I'd had training around how to manage the negative feelings, I think I could have been even 10 times better. So our next guest.
Yeah. Well, talking about that exactly, and that is really interesting you sort of say that. So I tell you, we have got the queen of mindfulness and mindset training here. So everyone here, we're really excited. So we have got Chelsea Pottenger here. So she's joining us at our back fence. Chelsea is the founder of EQ Minds, a high-performance mindset and meditation coach, a sought-after keynote speaker, author of The Mindful High Performer, which is a brilliant book. I've listened to a lot of it on audio, which is a practical and inspiring guide to thriving in work and life. A former US college Division I basketballer with an MBA, Chelsea works with large brands globally. I mean, the biggest names, helping people reset, recharge, and perform at their best. Well, she sure is many things. She's a proud mum, a devoted wife, a passionate mental health advocate, and an ambassador for the Gidget Foundation, supporting new parents through perinatal anxiety and depression. So there's so much to talk about. Chelsea,
you know
welcome.
What I love? You know what I love is
to the
watching
back
people's
fence.
faces when you talk about them. I actually really enjoy that because it's either, oh my God, like, you know, I've got to live up to that, or whatever. It's wow. And I was watching your face then, and it was actually beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Di.
Yeah, you were embracing that, and that's really important, you know, like that. Look,
That's true, and let me say, she does have a beautiful face anyhow.
Yeah, well, that too. So true. It's like, God, guys, it's the morning here. Still waking up. Do you know, Chelsea, there's, as usual, we're so fortunate with a lot of our guests. There's so much to unpack with you today. But let's start at the very beginning.
Oh, Di will break into a song
good place
at a drop of
to
a
start.
hat too. Go on. What have you got? What song have you got for Chelsea?
That was it. That is
okay,
it.
That's it.
That is
okay.
beginning
All
and
right,
end.
all right.
Okay, so let's start with Chelsea growing up in regional New South Wales, which was where exactly?
Albury.
Because Albury.
Yeah, on the Albury side. So Albury Wodonga, very
right.
territorial down there on the border.
Oh, yes.
Were you from a property or
No, we were in town.
Okay.
So one side, for all the listeners, one side is New South Wales and one side is Victoria.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
Which is it really sort of like, you know,
Very
sporting games
argy-bargy.
and everything?
Argy-bargy.
For sure. And people who will say that they're from Albury, they will absolutely say we are on the Albury side.
Wow, isn't that fascinating?
I love that.
And it's still like regional, and it fascinates Nicola and I how many girls in particular, women that have been extremely successful, have either come country-based or, like in your case, regional-based. It's a fascinating driver for success. I don't know why or how, but it's evident with so many people we ask, so where did you come from or where were you born? It's amazing.
I loved my upbringing too. You know, I came from a working class family, so mum and dad, we had so much love in the house. The Maslow hierarchy was definitely met. You know, shelter, food, lots of love, but we didn't have much money, right? So everything was hand-me-downs, second clothes.
Really?
All I wanted, I remember when I was 14 years, was this rib curl wallet with a Velcro strip. Do you remember those?
I do.
They fold out.
Believe it or not, I do.
I do remember that too.
And so
I think I gave one to a boyfriend.
Did you? Were you killing it? You're financially killing it.
Stalker.
And I said to Mum, I would love, this wallet. And she's like, darling, if you want a wallet, you're going to have to go and work for it. And so we just don't have the money to do that. So I had 3 jobs, and I went pamphlet dropping, refereeing basketball, and worked in the deli. And I just saved so hard for this wallet because that's what I wanted.
It's so good.
And as soon as I got that, I loved that wallet. But that was like kind of insight in terms of like we had to work really hard for everything. Where we lived was sort of low socioeconomic area of Albury. So the school that I went to was kind of like a zoo. It was like a dog-eat-dog world, And the bus that I'd catch, it had like the Terry Tough Nuts on the back of the bus. And because of where I lived, I was friends with the Terry Tough Nuts, but then I managed to get myself into more of the top class at school. So the protection of the Terrys in the playground. And then I had, luckily, just the intelligence to be more in the topper classes. And growing up that way, it made us exceptionally scrappy, really driven, but it made us really love my family. And so we are so close as a unit, mum and dad, my brother and sister. And we generosity up to our parents because they gave us everything, right, growing up. And it was just this incredible upbringing. My brother and sister are successful in their own way as well. But the biggest thing that mum and dad are most proud of is that we are so tight as siblings and as a family, and we love each other. And I think there's something to that.
That's the best foundation, because we've also now got a podcast too over the money fence too, and we sort of talk about different things too. And money can give you freedom. It's so wonderful to have that, as we know. But you can have so much money. You can come from a family with a lot of money, a lot of privileges, and the parents mightn't have been there to talk to the kids, mightn't have had that, whereas your parents mightn't have had that financial thing. But it sounds like they also had really good moral compass and
essential.
really good guidance for you as well.
That's beautiful to hear that. You know, it's really the good news story of coming from nothing. Look at you end up with this lovely, tight-knit, loving
But that
family.
seems to be a drive as well
Beautiful.
too, is it? Because, you know, you didn't have that. So you could either go, well, some people could have the drive, well, I'm going to, haven't got that, well, I'll go and steal it. Which could have been some of those.
Yes.
Or else I'm going to work
was
for
solid.
it and do 3 jobs to get it.
Yeah.
You know,
Got
when you're
yourself a
right
wallet.
about the working, the good work ethic,
And that gets you
kept you off the street,
places.
so to speak.
It really did, and also like to always be
Yeah.
kind and always appreciate what we have. You know, like it's funny because now my daughter's growing up in a completely different socioeconomic upbringing to myself, and so she came to me at 5 and she's like, "Mum, I really want a horse. Can you buy me a horse?" And I said, "Look, kid, I'm not buying you a horse because I really wanted a Rip Curl wallet when I was young, and I had to work for it." And
She's going, Mum, if you tell me the story one more
I
time.
know, right? She's like, I've heard this before. Get the violin out.
Every other kid at Kindy's got a horse. Why haven't I got
Exactly.
one?
Yeah.
So I said, I'll teach you how to run businesses, and you can make your own money and buy your own horse.
How old's your daughter
She's
now?
now 10.
So she's
Wow,
working
isn't
4
she
jobs.
lucky?
She actually has 3 businesses.
I love it.
What
She's
she
CEO.
is, she is, what is she, $3,850 into her savings.
Wow.
And she's 10.
So, and she's 10.
Quickly, what
look
does
at
she
Sam.
do?
Look at
A
Sam's
10.
face.
I know.
She's going.
I know.
So
Good.
she walks dogs for $10 a
Yeah.
dog walk.
I
She washes
love
cars.
this.
Where does she live? 'Cause
And
I've got a
we're
big
down
dog.
in Gerringong.
Oh, damn.
So we're a couple hours south from here.
Employer.
And she
Beautiful
and she-
area.
Beautiful. And her biggest sort of cash making business is she buys Calippos at the shop and sells them for double the price at the park. So I taught about bystander effect in psychology. You know, you get 3 people at your stand, then everyone's going to come across. So she goes and gives 3 free Calippos out, but they have to come over to the stand. They play the music on the UE boom, and they have to stand there and dance, and then they bring the other kids start coming
How
over.
cool.
So it's all
Chelsea
these-
for number 1 mum.
I agree.
Oh,
Seriously. I love it. You're setting a really good
Chelsea
example.
for bloody president.
Well,
Prime
that
Minister.
too.
Jeez,
All of
the
the
way
above,
this is
actually,
going.
while we're there. Oh, look,
But she's a good
it's-
kid, right?
yeah,
Like,
it's
grounded
incredible.
and she's empowered and she's not entitled. And
Yes.
it's that whole thing of like, you also have to ride, you also have to volunteer your time, mock out stables. And so it's this whole thing of like teaching the kids to be empowered in a world that it's easy for us to get them the things.
And
but
to
then
give them
no delayed
something so
gratification
easily.
and
No.
all that kind of thing.
keeping her
Yes.
off the phone too.
That too.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, yeah,
It's
which is
huge.
huge.
These days for
Yeah.
mental
You know,
health.
yes.
So growing up in regional New South Wales and moving on to
You were
basketball
basketball
in America, like
Yeah.
Division 1. That's pretty wild. Tell us about that transition.
Thanks, Di. So I got recruited. So when I was going to university, Mum and Dad all
Where were
wanted
you
was-
at uni?
Well, I was about to go to Melbourne Uni, and then I got picked up for Oklahoma for this Division 1 college
As you do,
scholarship.
Oklahoma.
Wow, how
Of all places.
fantastic.
And
Midwest.
18-year-old, an
Gosh.
Aussie kid, no mobile, going.
That's
can
different
you
over there,
imagine?
isn't it?
It's so
Oklahoma.
different. It is so
I
And
lived
a small
I lived
town,
in
you know.
Indianapolis
Yeah.
3 years, an
Did you?
exchange student, so I kind of know the vibe a bit of that sort of
Yeah.
like crossroads.
Where I
Midwest
flew
America.
across the whole
You know,
time.
yes.
Never landed in the
Yes, yeah.
Midwest.
Yeah, and how they treat athletes there, like the Midwest was very. It was, I mean, they were fantastic to me. They really were, and I had this. It was almost like a sliding doors moment of moving to Melbourne, right,
Yes.
and going down there and playing with the Melbourne Tigers in their WNBL and going to university there to this scholarship coming my way. And completely changing my whole life of like now moving to Sydney for 6 months to train before Oklahoma, meet my now husband at the time.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So
I love
meet this
such
boyfriend.
moments.
Yeah.
Love this guy.
Yeah.
Don't want to leave. And my mum's like, I raised you as an independent
Go,
woman.
Mum.
You are getting on that plane.
love your
And you
mum.
are going for 4 years. And if he's worth it,
4
he'll
years.
still be here when you
Oh,
get
because
back.
you were young too.
I was 18, turning
You
19.
needed your
yeah,
mum
your
in your
mum
ear.
was good.
That-
Brilliant.
And as an 18, you're so in love, right? You're like, I don't know, I
Yeah,
don't want to
yeah.
let this guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
Right?
get
No,
it.
it's
He
hard.
came to visit, let's be honest.
He definitely did.
A lot.
And so
Yeah.
went to college, and that
Wow.
taught me so much because when I arrived, I was the least fit athlete there. I thought I was fit. Going to college ball was completely different. They are like next level of fitness. And so that was a really great time to explore around how to actually have really good discipline around a craft and around a sport. And so I play for the year. I actually get injured, fractured my sacrum. This is like, a couple months into the journey.
Wow.
Yeah, so sacroiliac joint, big hip.
Yeah.
Fractured that
huge.
area. And so then I have to redshirt. And that means you've got to take the year off while you're rehabbing and then come back again.
Excuse me, what's the red shirt?
So the red shirt means you just skip a year as a
Why is it
freshman?
called a red shirt?
I don't know.
I mean, come on.
It's
so
American.
bizarre.
It's
We're in Oklahoma.
You know,
Don't you love Nicola? It's
USA.
American.
American
It's
red
a red
shirt.
shirt.
Stars and stripes.
So you're right.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So a year off. What did you do?
So just went to college and
okay, right. You're still at
educate,
uni.
got
Yeah.
to uni,
Yeah.
support the team, and then a year later I get released to start training again. And because in the US to make the MBA you have to build size. Like I was a whippet, I needed to lift a lot of weights, and to get to that size to be able to take on those girls. And my body, it just could not get there. So I was lifting a lot of heavy weights, and then I stress fractured the same injury.
Oh.
And so my coaches wanted to, cortisone inject me and play me through a season. So I call mum and dad.
Well,
right,
especially
now,
mum.
Yeah.
Mum,
Darling.
darling, you get home.
Oh,
Right,
Wow.
whereas
And
Dad-
the boyfriend must be going, yes.
Yes.
No, he's,
Yeah.
he went in at night when she was asleep.
Yeah.
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 A hammer. Oh, you got to come home. Oh.
Shame. There goes that hip joint.
Go, Mum. Get home. Love it.
But mum's like, I want you to be able to walk with your kids when you're older. You're not redshirting, and redshirting for a year. And my dad's like, this is your dreams, the MBA, you should stay. And so I was this quite a time of like, well, what do I do? But then obviously the boyfriend, and that was a big pull. And it was also, well, you know what? Life, there's going to be another journey for me, right? Basketball, obvious. And to be honest, I would never have made the NBA. I just could not build
It's a
enough
great
size.
thing in
No.
reflection
Yes.
to actually
Yes.
assess that.
It
Yeah.
says
I think
that-
that's
say
healthy.
that.
I
But it's
think
also it's
so.
a great thing to share, Chelsea, too, because so many people. I mean, we might have been in that situation of MBA, but in life too, you get a dream or you
Yeah.
do something, and all of a sudden it's pulled
Mm.
from under your feet,
That's
and
it.
you sort of think, what can I do now?
That's
This is
right.
where I'm putting everything into it.
That's right.
But sometimes, as we know, it's the
Yeah.
biggest gifts, but it's going through it, isn't it?
That's it.
Always.
In the period of time in the trench,
It's hard.
there's
Yeah.
a gift on the other side when you reflect back.
Yeah.
That's
That's the
it.
self-efficacy. Like, I
yeah.
can do hard things. I could do that. And there's stories that I learnt on when I went through my postnatal depression journey and things like that I would reflect on going, well, I got through that.
Yeah.
And it was a really tough time. That means I can get through this too.
Let's
So
move,
yeah,
let's
so let's
move
go
into
there
that.
too. So you've
Yeah.
come back there, and then
Yeah.
did
Boyfriend
you marry?
happy,
Did
yeah.
he end up being then? the
Oh
husband?
my gosh, I end up marrying this guy, but
Yeah.
come back, we date for another 6
Yes,
years.
yeah.
We break up because we're
Oh.
together since we were 18.
Yeah, which is
Oh, right.
on the
yeah.
cards.
On the
And
cards.
you're away
Seven
some of
years.
that.
You know, all
Yeah.
that stuff. And
Yeah.
he was
Good.
gorgeous. And I thought, you need to really go and spread your wings because
Yes.
you're super hot. But I'm not going to wait for you. So I must go and do my own thing. And because when we did break up, he was so divine. And I didn't really want to break up. But I just thought, well, obviously you need this.
You're looking
you know?
longevity.
Yeah, I'm thinking, well, if
Yeah,
you're
wise.
worth it, you go off and maybe
But
you will
also,
come back.
you're
Yeah.
brave because
Yeah.
there's no guarantee he's going to come back either.
Well,
Because
that's
he
If
could
you love
fall in
something,
love with
set it
American
free.
Chickie
If it
or
adores
someone
you,
else
would
there.
always return.
That is so
That's
true.
a fact, yeah.
And so I was devastated, and because at the time I was working with Johnson & Johnson and had a big corporate job. So I called my mum and I'm like, this guy, like we've just broken up, and because we were living together, and I thought we were about to get married, and I was 26, and she's like, do you know what you need to do? You need to go to Miami.
Sorry? Hold on. Back up. This is Mum who's in Albury, regional.
Yeah.
Hold on. Regional New
I
South
reckon we
Wales.
should get your mum on the
Seriously,
podcast.
I'm
she's the
telling
best
you,
woman.
and we have all these questions. So, what should I do with the rest of my life?
know.
Okay,
I want-
should I shop here?
What's your mum's
Should-
name?
St. Margie, I call her.
St.
Her name's
Margie.
Margaret,
We want
but I
St.
call her
So,
Margie's
St. Margie.
you know what? I need
there.
to know why there of all
Miami.
places.
She's reading in Marie Claire that this is the hot spot.
Oh, I love
Are
it.
you kidding me?
So she's like, call your top 10 best girlfriends, the fun ones,
Yeah,
and start at number 1 and say, I'm moving to Miami.
yeah.
Would you like to come? I've just broken up with Jay. And so I'm like,
Hold
okay.
on, moving as in moving.
As in moving
living
to live there
Oh,
and have
wow.
a year there
wow.
and have a great time.
That's huge.
Yes, yeah.
Huge. So I call my best friend Emily And she's like, wherever you go, I'm coming.
Oh, we love Emily.
Emily's great.
Yeah,
So
she's a good
off
buddy.
we go.
Where are we going, Jai?
Oh, tomorrow. Off we go.
Miami.
Wherever you say, Nicola.
You're going to laugh. My daughter's single and, 31, and she's, went with a couple of her best girlfriends, and they just came back from Miami. I'm not kidding, last week. And
It's a great city.
Best, you know?
The best.
Yeah.
The best.
So how many
single
girls
chickies.
ended up going?
So just me and my best friend, we moved.
So how many of them went with you? How
Just
many?
the two of them. I only
Yes,
started with
Okay,
the number
so
one.
two
I just
girlfriends
needed
and
one
you.
person.
Off you-
No, me and Emily.
That's all you need.
Okay,
That's it.
yeah.
That's all
No,
we
no,
needed.
love this.
That's all we
Love
needed.
this, yeah.
Go to Miami, pick up a job with little Kim and Usher, working their bars, right? So we are now managing their bar. So we're living this very wild,
I love
crazy
it.
life.
You needed
Which is
it.
kind of what you need after you go through a big breakup.
It was a bubble. You lived in a
Totally.
bubble.
And you
My
need to
brother played
experience
American football.
Yeah.
Uni of Hawaii, so I get it. It's a bubble.
He was
you
actually the
live
first
within.
Aussie. Colin, and
to
he's
play
been on our
American
podcast
footy.
too, guys.
Yeah.
Tune back
He's
to you.
so much fun.
Jai's one of 8, Jai's 2 brothers.
But he used to talk about that,
amazing.
that
Yeah.
bubble, and it's so important to break free.
To break free.
Yeah, and find a balance.
But I think he
Find
went
the
out with a lot of
balance.
girls, though, before.
Oh, really, Nicola?
I don't think he was for, like Jill said, the one there, like that.
was on a flight with you,
so-
wasn't
Can't remember that.
So
classic.
Miami, I got Miami Vice. Yahoo.
Go to Miami. go to Miami. End up in New York at my cousin's place. And this is a really key part because we're living in Miami having a great time. Then go and see my cousin in New York. She's like, you must go see the palm reader, this French lady in her kitchen. She's amazing. Now, I've never
Did
had
your
my
mother
palms
tell you
read.
to do that? No, I'm
I was
joking.
gonna say,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this palm reader's like,
Yeah.
and I didn't say anything to her, but she's like, listen, there's this energy here. This guy that you're meant to marry has just landed in America, and Jay had just got there down south. And she's like, you will marry this guy unless you date him this year. She's like, if you get back together, you will never marry this man. But this is your soulmate, so you cannot date him this year. Date him next year, and you'll get married. Anyway, so there's all these weird things going on. I'm like, okay. So
Hold on, I need to take you back.
Yeah.
This is someone you've never met.
someone I've never met.
Okay.
Lady in the kitchen,
Right.
French lady reading.
Yeah.
My cousin's
You've
like
never
best
met
palm
him.
reader in New York.
This is the guy you're going to
No,
marry.
this is Jay. Jay is now he just arrived in the USA.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He's what nationality?
Oh, Jay's Australian. He's
Oh,
the
he's the-
boyfriend.
that's-
that I
he's the
broke up with.
boyfriend.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
what I'm trying to
yeah,
get
yes,
to.
yeah, yeah.
Boyfriend,
Okay,
broken up with boyfriends.
clarified that.
But he's
Go to
yes,
the US.
yes.
Wow,
He's come
this is
over to
wild.
get back together, and I'm like,
I can't believe this.
I know.
Oh, I like him because he's really determined to
Yeah, but
Yeah.
this
lose
is
his chick.
fascinating.
So then I move on to London to do a bit of work over there. He comes over. We just stay in contact. And
You're
I
running
always-
away again. See ya.
Bye. Yeah, I can't
Thank
see
you,
you
bye.
this year.
She gave him the good testing
Didn't
ground,
she?
didn't you? I tell you
And you
what.
stir on that pot, baby. Okay, so you take off to
Treat them
London.
mean, keep them keen. That's what I say.
Spot on.
That's classic. So get to London. We stay in touch. Always speak really nicely about him because he is such a
Yeah.
catch, such a great guy. And about a year later down the track, we catch up. And he was like, do you want to go to Belgium for a trip? And my heart, because both of us had dated other people in that 2-year period, I still had butterflies for this guy, for Jay. And so we go on this trip and he's like, should we get back together? And I'm like, I think we should.
Did you ring Mum?
Yeah, Mum was beyond
Yes.
excited. Because Mum loves this guy.
It's
Saint
like
Margie
she
loves this
knew.
guy.
Yeah.
And what about the
Amazing.
palm reader?
Yeah,
You
the
know,
palm
like-
reader happy. She's
Yes.
happy. It's all falling into her
everyone's
story.
happy.
Everyone's happy.
Wow.
So good.
Get back, marry this guy. And we've been
Wow.
married now for 17
And it
years.
seems like, and from what we're going to
How
go further
beautiful.
into it now, but it just seems like also you've married a rock of a person,
rock.
like
Without
that.
a
We've interviewed a
doubt.
few people now, and even Shelley Horton's, that their husbands
Yes,
there have really
true.
been the rock by their sides. It doesn't
Yes.
always happen that
Yeah.
way.
It's
But
true.
well, so then tell us then how that. So you've married the man really of your dreams.
Yeah.
It certainly took a while, but you sort of got there.
Yeah.
And then you're working in the corporate world, and then
Yes.
you decide to have a baba or.
Try for 7 years to have the baby.
Wow.
7 years.
That's incredible.
Incredible. Long journey, hey?
And you'd think that
IVF or was it
About to start IVF.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
And the month that the IVF specialist goes away, I fall pregnant.
That often
And
happens, they
she
say.
said that.
Yeah,
She actually
yeah,
said that
it's
'cause you kind of
remarkable.
relax and you
and
know
often women
there's-
will adopt a child and then they fall pregnant naturally.
Oh, that's it.
It's fascinating
You've
about
heard
life,
that.
that.
It's amazing
There's so
how it
much more
happens.
to the human body than we give it credit for.
That is so
okay,
true.
so tell us about you have your beautiful daughter Clara,
So
who's,
7
who's
years
a
in
CEO
in
at
the-
age 10 now.
I
And
want to
then-
know what Mum said when you said I'm having a baby.
She was beyond excited.
Can you imagine?
Beyond
Oh my
excited.
God.
Did you throw her
Yeah.
middle name in or something? Has she got a
The middle name is named after my mum's mum, Ada.
Oh,
How
that's
beautiful.
Who's
beautiful.
also
Well,
the most
That's gorgeous.
amazing.
So
I
that's
said
the
to Mum,
family.
Good, strong women. Good
strong
lineage.
women,
Yeah.
and as much as I will, like my mum, when she passes to her next journey, I'll miss her so much. But she lives in my daughter. I see it in the eyes.
Oh,
you know, in the
wow.
soul.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
so they're very similar. My
Does she
daughter, my
phone
mum
you,
and
Clara,
my
and say,
grandma.
Mum, no, you need to do this? Okay, darling.
Yeah.
No, have
All right, I'm
this
off to
reversed.
do
Yeah,
that.
are you at Scanlon Theatre again? Get out of there. We've told you about this P&L before.
Should be working 10 jobs.
God,
So,
it's
Sarah,
incredible.
so how was your pregnancy and how did all that go?
Look, I was so elated finding out that we were having a baby, and so when delivering Clara, and it was a beautiful. I had a beautiful delivery actually. Like it was like such a beautiful delivery, and I was just so thrilled that we're finally having a baby. And then the most ironic thing happens, and the reason why I say ironic is because usually I am such a happy person by nature, right? But 9 weeks post-birth, I end up in a psychiatric hospital, so clinically unwell, like I'm fighting for my life, that the safest place I could be was in a postnatal depression mums and bubs unit for psychiatric care.
So did you put it down to that, postnatal depression?
100%.
Wow.
Had you
So-
suffered any of that before in
I'd
your...
suffered previously anxiety, but that
Right,
was
not
actually,
this.
not that.
Amazing.
And I didn't even flag the anxiety with my obstetrician. I didn't even think it would come back, until it came back with a force, right? This chemical imbalance, day 3. And it was like clockwork.
Day 3.
Day 3.
Gee,
I was
that's
having
hard, isn't it?
Very, very, very challenging.
And how common is it? Is it 1 in 5?
really common.
Is
1 in
it?
5.
That's actually.
Yeah.
See, I actually have to be honest. With our group of girlfriends, I've not known someone to suffer postnatal
No, I
Yeah,
think
right.
some
personally.
might have been,
Yeah.
but it is extraordinary in our
just
circle. But
not sure why,
sometimes,
how, but I've heard about people
Yeah.
knowing a lot of people with postnatal depression.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
yours seemed particularly severe.
Yeah, mine
Yeah.
was very acute. And
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons being was that I was so scared of what was going on inside my mind because it was so unfamiliar. Like I have had anxiety before, but I never had the depression to couple with that of these really dark thoughts. And then having the anxiety, insomnia, and not being so scared to talk about it or tell anyone about it because I thought they'd take Clara off me. And I'm like, this is the only thing I've
Yes.
ever wanted. But then with that,
How's
with
the
that
irony in that?
oh,
Right.
that's scary,
Isn't that
isn't
scary?
it?
Because
It's
Yeah.
been
what
7
happens.
years waiting to have a child,
Right.
and then there you are going, oh
But
my
your
God,
mum
they
would
could
have
take her
stepped
off
in,
me.
wouldn't she?
all of that.
Seriously.
No, but I mean,
that's
Yeah.
tough.
they wouldn't have taken her off. I mean,
Oh,
permanently.
and they
to
never
No,
would
but
take
that's
the baby
okay.
off you,
but
but
just
that's
thoughts
your
of
I
thought.
get
thinking
it.
that.
I get it.
Absolutely.
You poor darling.
And
It's-
but you know what? When you walk through the shoes of that kind of patient, right, and you've seen the lens through a suicidal ideation patient, you have so much empathy and sympathy to see it on that side. So then when I think about that hospital stay for 5 weeks, and it
Hospital as in...
was a psychiatric
Okay,
hospital. I had to get admitted.
That is incredible.
I was very
So
unwell.
who
I
had
was-
Clara during that time?
She came with me.
Oh, that's
Oh,
good.
that's
I'm happy
beautiful.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They make sure that the baby
Good.
comes because
Good.
of mother-baby bonding issues.
It's
Yes.
exactly what I was thinking. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
I guess you
And-
couldn't
Yeah.
breastfeed at that stage, could you?
No,
No.
breastfeeding was
Body-
challenging.
question.
Yes.
All those
Yeah.
kinds of
Yes.
things that I found very, very tough. And it was, talking about marrying the rock, just the support and the
Yeah.
uplift of that pillar of strength of Jay is just exceptional. I said to him, whatever happens to us in this life journey, if we ever separate later on, I've got your back at 2 a.m. any time in my life, because you don't forget the people that turn up for you.
No
in
way.
those
Yes, yeah.
No
dark
way.
When you
periods of
talk about,
time.
we say
Yeah.
rock bottom,
Yeah.
that's like the lowest you can get
It's
when
true.
you're actually,
Yeah.
you feel like you don't want to be here.
100%.
Yeah.
Like
And
you're a
here's-
burden, right?
And
Like
here's the
you-
guy you kept flying away from.
Yeah.
And see you later.
Yes.
And the
You're
full
a rock.
360. Oh my God, I need you like I've never needed
Yeah.
anybody.
Yes.
And he
He's
was there.
incredible. And it wasn't the same for all the women in that hospital.
No.
You know, one of them was an amazing barrister, and her husband literally left her and said, "You're not the woman I married. I want a divorce."
Yeah.
And dropped off at the hospital with the baby.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
And I'm like, what a piece of shit.
Yes.
She's like, you know what? I'm not going to commit suicide anymore. I'm going to get better.
she
And I'm going to take him
that's
for everything
good,
he's got. I'm
isn't
like,
it?
yeah, girl. And so,
How's the irony in that too?
right.
This is the land of
I
ironies.
love
We became
that
such
too.
good friends
Isn't
in
that
hospital.
great?
I'm
But
so
also
I'm so proud of you.
She found his true
well done
colours
coming through.
very early, so that's a
Yeah.
gift in itself.
Isn't
It's
that?
just
you know,
beautiful.
Because it's like your foul weather
If it wasn't
friends
gonna
who turns
happen
up in
then,
tough times.
It was going to
Yeah.
happen at a Coldplay concert,
Yeah.
you know.
I know.
I actually,
Absolutely.
do you know
Who is
what?
that guy?
I can't even
I
listen
know.
to Coldplay
Listen,
without
like
thinking
it.
about
I
it
know.
now.
Oh my
Even at
God.
Pilates this morning, Coldplay came on and everyone's talking about it. I'm like,
Like,
I'm over it. So look, coming back to this
So-
this incredible scenario, like, so you come out the other side after, was it 6 weeks?
So it's 5 weeks.
5 weeks there.
How long was
Yeah.
that process to come out? Must
Yeah.
have been a long
Yeah.
journey,
It's
was
a long
it?
journey.
Yeah.
The 5 weeks is the acute phase,
Yes.
and it's
Right.
incredible setup. So anyone that's listening, you know, St John of God Hospital in Sydney is an incredible resource for
I've not
people.
heard of it.
Either had
Yes,
I.
yeah.
And until I got admitted there, and I
Yeah.
thought, wow. And the reason why it's so effective is because you're there with 12 other mums and their
Yeah.
babies who are going through the exact same thing as
Great.
you. And what you're seeing also is a few patients that are at the end of their 5-week journey who have fully recovered, and they say to you, "Di, Nicola, we've been where you've been, and I promise you get through it." And so it's that beautiful strength that you see because you're there in this state of complete like sadness and burdensome and just helplessness. And they're like, "We promise you we were where you were, and you will, like us, come on the other side." And there's so much strength in that, and a community almost like in this really unfamiliar environment, because you actually, I remember when I ended up in the hospital, I started playing this game like, am I the craziest person in here? Like, this is like a game that you play trying to spot who's crazier than you in the hospital. And this lawyer who came in, and I remember she comes in, and I'm in the laundry trying to remember how to wash Clara's clothes, because with severe depression, your brain kind of gets this brain fog. And she's walking, I thought, oh, this poor lady, she's definitely crazier than me. She's, crazy hair and buttons not evenly, done up on a shirt. I'm like, she's got to be winning this crazy competition. And she comes
It's actually
into
healthy in a way.
good.
yeah, and she
Love
comes into
it.
the laundry, and she's like, "Hey, you," and I'm like, "Me?" She's like, "Yes, you." And she's like, "I'm trying to work out who's crazier out of you and me." And so she's playing my game,
Oh,
right?
kidding me.
And I'm like,
Wow.
looking at her, I'm like,
Bunch of crazies.
Really? Yeah,
I
we're
love
all
it.
crazy.
Did you
All
say
crazy.
my buttons are done up properly?
Yeah.
I'll have you know.
She's like, "I know I haven't brushed my hair for months," but she's like,
Wow.
"But your maternity jeans, they're on back to front."
Oh!
and, they
And then you were laughing your head off.
We laughed.
That's so
and we
healthy.
cried. and
There
we
you
cried.
go. That breaks the
And
ice.
we're just-
So
I love that.
You know what? I'm one of Australia's best barristers. And she's like, "And look at where I am." And I said, "We're going to
Wow.
be great friends."
Oh, wow. And
Can
you-
I ask a question?
Incredible.
Was there a lot of high achieving women in there?
Every
And
single
the
one.
reason I'm asking,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, do you think? No, she's already nodding her head.
Yes,
Nobody
yes,
asked
yes,
her.
yes, yeah.
But seriously, when you're a high achieving woman, particularly, in this day and age, it's a lot more pressure.
Absolutely.
Ultimately, and you've got the hormones kicking in to be nurturing, maternal. Bingo. So it's interesting you say yes.
Absolutely. Type A, high functioning, perfectionists are very, very prone. Like that's kind of, because
Wow.
they're used to having things in order, ticking off to-do lists, and knowing how things function and work. And then all of a sudden you're thrown into this unfamiliar world and this baby doesn't go by the book, right? And then the hormone imbalance happens. And, the hormone imbalance happens and all of a sudden you're in this uncertain world. And you've lost your identity to that corporate high achieving, and now what's your new identity as a mother? And so, inside that unit with me was a surgeon, was a property developer, was a barrister, very high functioning, very high achieving
And is it
women.
a genetic thing as well? Like, is you genetically you are that sort of personality type?
Yeah.
And so when this happens,
Yes. Yeah.
because you sort of think, this is everything you've always wanted, and
Absolutely.
then regardless of, the baby not sleeping and this, you're not coping, but for you to go to that extreme, it's sort of something you can't really help, can you? But, so what's the best support and ways for people to deal with this?
And the Gidget Foundation's a great one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So I think number one is awareness.
So is it awareness?
So I think if you're listening to the podcast, right, like, hang on a second, I'm about to have a baby. I'm type A. I like to do I'm meant to do this. I achieve things. I've got a vulnerability in my family gene line. Hang on a second. My dad has mental illness. I am quite high risk now. I should go and have a look at the Gidget Foundation and just get across what are the signs and symptoms and reach out to Gidget and maybe have a conversation with one of their in-house psychologists, right? Because you get 10 free psychology appointments here in Australia with a mental health care plan.
How wonderful is that?
It is so good. So tell us about the Gidget Foundation and what it stands for.
And good on you for getting involved.
So I've got to say, I have been to one of the lunches and they are kick-ass. It's just like the biggest girl party ever. Dancing speakers, whatever. I think you were there at one of the ones I went to. But tell us what it is. This is for Aussies, for our international listeners, but I'm sure
all the international people can look online.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So they exist to look after the emotional well-being of peri and postnatal patients, so perinatal anxiety and depression and postnatal anxiety and depression. And so they're very much there to empower, mums and dads, because 1 in 10 fathers go through postnatal depression as well, which I think is even
so tell
harder
us about that.
I know, right? It's a chemical, again, hormonal imbalance. It is sleep deprivation. It's this whole new world of trying to operate. And when, sleep is such a critical thing for people's mental health.
I didn't sleep for 3 months.
But
torture.
People don't so much think about men having it.
No.
Do they?
1 in 10.
1 in 10.
Wow.
Which is a lot as well.
It is.
Yeah.
And what are their signs?
Quite similar, actually.
Wow,
they can't sleep when the baby's sleeping. They get irritable, sometimes super vigilance to sound. They'll be at home going, oh my gosh, why is the kettle so loud?
It's paternal and maternal. It's all coming into being.
It really is. Yeah. And so there's a whole checklist really of signs and symptoms. And when I was looking into it when I was in hospital, I'm like, wow, I tick every single thing on this list. Things like crying every single day. Feeling senses of loneliness and burdensome, and having a disconnection to the baby, looking at the baby as if it's not even your own. These are just real
That's
things
so hard, isn't it?
And it's so, and that's one of my biggest fears is when I was in the unit saying to my psychiatrist, oh my gosh, is this going to impact my daughter? And she said, no. She said, you know what? While your medication's kicking in and mirror neurons are firing, we're just going to fake it till we make it. And you're going to sing to her and you're going to massage her.
I love this psychologist. She's great line.
She's the best. She's such
brilliant.
a beautiful human. And so I think just getting, number one is just awareness, right? Getting educated around this kind of stuff. Because once we know what...
Can you stop it before it starts? If you sort of think that, I am a type A, there's a history in the family there, I'm going to have a bubba.
Yeah.
So I'm on the cards. Can you stop it from happening beforehand? Or it's just that, genetic overwhelm that you can't sometimes...
Well, it might not happen. You see?
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
And I think you can soften it.
Soften it, maybe,
having the tools. So seeing a therapist or
straight up.
Being aware. Awareness.
Being aware.
I think that's number one.
If you can't stop
100%.
crying, let's nip it in the bud sort of early on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you don't have to feel, I guess, also either, silly or feel guilty. I can't imagine the guilt you'd be feeling too. And you must have, I guess, would have felt that way too. It took you so long to have a baby.
You know what I do love is it's honestly, we say it again and again and again for anyone listening. When you're rock bottom, where did you end up going? You end up studying psychology and entering this whole new world of mindfulness. So isn't that amazing? Tell us about that transition from where you were to this form of study.
Thank you, Di. Well, I think when you find yourself in that kind of position, and it was 5 weeks then when I started feeling like my old self was coming back again, and I just thought, wow, it's almost like to be the change, you have to have seen the change, see what's needed in the world. And at the end of the 5 week stay, it was actually the guidance from my psychiatrist who's like, Chels, you are so lovely. She's like, you make smoothies for all the mums in here. And she's like, you have this weird fascination with your own brain. You're always asking me about all these different things. And you've walked through, she's a very unwell patient. Why don't you leave corporate and go and retrain in psychology? She's like, I think you'd be a lovely psychologist.
Wow.
And I thought,
wow.
Okay.
What a lovely lady to express
What's her
that.
name? What's her name?
Her name is Dr. Tam Lu. and
We love her.
We love her.
Yep.
I send her a card every year with photos of what I've been up to.
Good on her.
Wouldn't she be proud of you?
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you for saving my life, right?
So you
Yeah.
study psychology?
So I go back to, so I move out of Sydney because that was one of
Postgrad.
her other guidance.
Yes.
She's
Yeah.
like, get out of the city.
Yep.
She's like, a lot of my anxious patients no longer live in Sydney.
Wow.
You've got family support down on the south
Yeah,
coast.
brilliant.
That's a big thing too,
Huge.
isn't it?
Brilliant
She's
guidance.
like, get out of here. She's like, go to a peaceful place to live, retrain, because then you can learn things for your own brain. And she sent me to the Nantin Temple, which is like a...
I love it there.
You love it? Yeah.
What's that?
And so it's a place where it's beautiful.
Meditate. You know, as you go down to Wollongong, when you see, you can't help but see it. It stands
Yeah.
out.
But just for the listeners who might know what it is.
Yeah,
it's,
so the Nantin Temple is, anyone can go there. It's open to the public. I went and did a 3-month loving kindness, compassion meditation there with the monks.
Beautiful.
And again, that was a big part of my
with the
healing.
monks.
Yeah, so they got Buddhist
Very
monks
Jay
on-
Shetty.
Very Jay Shetty.
Yes,
I should have shaved my
yes, I know,
hair, actually.
No way.
But it was such an important part of the healing process because when you go through things like that, and if you do feel shame or you do feel, it's such an important part to learn how to love yourself again. And being along that journey with that experience was that, some moments I'd be meditating with them and I'd just burst into tears. And one of them would come up and just place his hand on my arm and say, Charles, to let the light come through, sometimes we have to crack open, right? And you had to go through
Like
that.
that's
Don't
that
you love
Ruby
it?
quote too,
That
isn't
is
it?
so
Yes,
beautiful.
I know.
And she's like,
Sometimes we have
isn't
to
it?
crack
to let the
the
light
light
come
in.
through.
Yeah.
It is beautiful.
Isn't that
It's
gorgeous?
one of my favourite quotes.
Yeah.
So
I've got
I love that
goosebumps
one.
actually
Beautiful.
everywhere.
And he's like, this is your
Wow.
true calling. You could not have gone on what your future holds for you without experiencing what you went through. And she's like, with this comes growth. And so that was another penny drop moment of like,
Post-traumatic
whole
growth.
That's it.
It's like
that's it,
yeah,
Nicola.
exactly.
It really is. You can
Yeah.
either victimize and stay stuck for a decade, or you're like, right,
Oh, forever.
forever.
Yes.
Live and die.
Live and
with
die with it. Or do you go, wow, what
Who
can I
wrote the
learn?
book,
You know?
Lee?
So you went off to
Post-traumatic
learn?
Growth,
I
yeah.
have to learn and grow. And
Good
to
girl.
help one person not go through what I went through. That was my whole
I
dream.
love this.
It's like I really.
So how long did you study for?
I'm still studying.
Yes, but yeah.
Well, what do we say? We're a work in
but-
progress till we
Always.
get
Yeah.
done.
And
Yeah.
like
And forever.
your beautiful
Yeah.
lady
Yes,
that you
yes.
interviewed at 103. My husband's
Yes.
like,
That's
you will go into your coffin enrolling into like a university degree. And I'm like,
think
I know.
I know.
That's
but I also think
great.
that's I think
Hold on,
that's
there's
also
one
a
more page.
gift. We say that too. We are students
it.
of life, and we're going to learn until, and you can reinvent, you can change until our last breath. And I think that's sort of a healthy thing to do that. And then tell us with that, then with EQ Minds.
Yay.
Yeah.
What's
Tell us
that?
all about that.
So
I'm excited.
EQ Minds. So I founded that after going through the postnatal, and it was the hilarious start to the business because for the
And what does
first,
EQ stand
Yeah,
for our
yeah,
listeners?
It stands for emotional
Dying to know.
quotient.
Sorry?
So emotional quotient, which is around the emotional intelligence.
Yes.
And so a lot of people have very high IQ, but if you don't have the EQ, where you can connect with a human being, then it's going to be.
Nicker and I are
true.
EQ.
I can feel that, but you're both. You're
Sam,
both.
you don't have to laugh.
We're in both, don't we?
We're
Oh,
both. You're
sweet.
both. You're
Thank you,
both.
sweetheart.
And so when I was learning things at university and through the Nantin Temple, and I said to my husband, we'd moved down to Gerringong. Clara's now 10 months old. And I'm like, wow, I'm just loving this stuff. I want to go and help some people. And he's like, well, this is a cute hobby for you. And I'm like, I know. Let me go and train the Gerringong Rotary Club. Let me go train some hospitals to help them around mindfulness. Maybe I can teach them how to meditate. Instead of looking at their phone first up in the morning, maybe they could do gratitude instead. And I remember the Rotary Club like, will you come up and we'll shout you a coffee? We have Nescafe in the, and I'm like, don't even worry about shouting me a coffee. I'm like, I will just come up.
Yeah.
And I do this session and free, and I walk out and the joy that I felt, I'm like, are you kidding me?
You're making me feel joyous hearing the story. I mean it.
Di.
Truly.
But you're such a
And I'm
giving,
feeling
giving
emotional
person,
too.
and I guess also you're reinforcing it for yourself too, aren't you?
Well,
when you
yeah.
are teaching
Giving
and
back.
doing that things that to others, it's still imprinting more for yourself without even
Yeah.
sort of like, knowing that,
It's
or that's
so
your
true.
reason for doing it.
They
But
say
it's,
the greatest gift to self is actually giving.
It's so
Yes.
true. That's where you get happier, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so meeting Bob the next morning at the ocean pools, and it's 6 a.m. and he's like, oh, Chels, that session yesterday, I woke up, I did gratitude instead. You've changed my morning. Wow. And so moments like that, like I'm like,
this is our language. Can you just go through what's some of the things, like with students there, what are some of the things that you would teach from our listeners now? Just what are some basic things, and like, with your EQ, just some basic sort of tips and tools of sort of like waking up, can you run us,
because mind you guys, she's a keynote speaker. It's not that she just goes to the Rotary Club. You are recognised globally now. So tips from you is just gold.
Oh, thanks, Di. And this is like 9 years down the track, right? And that's why I think it's important that listeners know that that's where I did start. Gerringong Rotary, $0 for our first year. I just did everything based on passion.
That's another good tip as well too. You've got to start somewhere, and there's no judgment.
Any judgment. And I think
starting anywhere is a good spot.
It's a really good spot, and I think sometimes people compare their beginning to your middle, and then they get worried, like, why not where you are? And I'm like, that's 9 years down the track, right? But you start where you need to, because we all start somewhere.
Exactly.
And people see these
why am I not where you are? Okay, I love this, because a lot of people look at you right now and go,
why can't I
that's
speak
her.
Look
at her. You know what I mean? It's human nature, and I don't like that part of human nature. I embrace people, and Nicola does too. But there are people like listening now go, but look where she is and look what she does. But hey, you too can do it.
100%.
A little bit of change of mindset, A, and B, where's a good starting point? As Nick was saying, some of those tips.
So what would you want to know? Do you want to know stress? Do you want to know morning routine? Do you want to know sleep routine?
Even wake up in the morning. Like you sort of started off too. Like that. Like wake up and you sort of say then with the gratitude. Because I know some people too will go, it's too much. I'm a bit over this whole thing of writing things down or whatever. But just sort of, I don't know, some simple things of changing your mindset and, going, another day. Yeah. How do you switch that in your mind?
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Let's start there. Yeah. And this is just like an invitation, like a buffet of different little ideas. Yeah. So the listeners can just choose one or two things that they want to try out. So a big thing that we're pretty fastidious about with research and is just not looking at your phone when you first wake up. So number one, change your alarm clock sound. So if your phone is the alarm and if you're waking up to beep, beep, that sound, we're just going to encourage people to change that, because you're ripping yourself out of this beautiful brainwave of delta, and then you get into this beta brainwave of high stress, and you're kind of jarring your way into the morning. So anything like birds, nature sounds. Clara and I recently have set up an applause app on our phone, so we wake up to a standing ovation. Yay! And it's so funny. Because Clara's my flatmate at the moment.
That is actually very funny.
You know what? If no one else is clapping you, the fun is.
Right. So that is actually fabulous.
I think I'm going to try change that one.
It's such a fun way to start. And then what we say to people is just phone down, because it's so detrimental, like what it does to the brain, looking at the phone first up in the morning. And I say to people, just own your first few minutes of the morning. Do not let this world in to dictate how you should start your day, because the way that you set up those first few minutes sets the tone for the entire day. You think about that, wake up, see the news, see the, Coldplay, whatever's going on, and it kind of jars our way. We get cortisol and adrenaline. And so phone's going down. So why that's down, up here in your mind, if you can, think about, we always say 3 things that you're grateful for, just purely because there's so much research around it. And it could be the simplest of things. The fact that you turn on a faucet in Australia, you get clean drinking water, right? I was just in Sri Lanka, everything has to come out of a bottle. That's outstanding to me in this country. We have eyes, right, that we wake up, the orbs inside the skull, they'll sense light. We can see the world with them. You have 2 that are functioning, eyeballs. You're killing it in this life. So your pillows, right? At our age, we wake up after sleeping on a dodgy pillow, we get paralysed. Like it's an actual thing, your neck kicks. So littlest,
and silk pillows.
Yeah, silk pillows for our skin. So the smallest of things there. And then curtains come open, sunlight comes in, which is great for the brain. And just something as simple as today is going to be a good day. Because what we're doing is algorithming the brain for reasons for it to be so. And the brain is a little bit naughty. It kind of velcros to things that are more negatively skewed for survival. So it's almost like we have to do bicep curls for things that, hack the system in the right kind of way. So that could be a thing. Today's going to be
I was wondering why that is sometimes too, why some people do wake up a bit more and always look at the negative. Yeah. I know, it's a mindset
That was
thing
fascinating.
There's also a thing there. So you can really retrain it, because some are born a bit more with a positive stick than others. But still, that's a really great thing.
I love that.
You're mindful then of that. You know, I'm a bit more on the negative side.
I'm running with you. I'm so with you. It's like I'm lying in bed.
Keep on going.
This is all happening.
Yeah, so it's all
I'm so in the
in
zone.
the morning, right?
Yeah.
So great, bathroom, right? And then if you want to try, and I speak about this in the book, brushing your teeth with the opposite hand while standing on one leg. Yeah.
Oh, one leg. Okay.
And this is such a good mindful practice. So one where dexterity sits in the brain, you get finger movement, the neuroplasticity is changing. So it's a great anti-aging technique for the brain. 2, it's a mindful technique, so not getting swept up into ourselves, always thinking about ourselves, sweeping into the past, too far into the future. So it's a beautiful thing. Again, with mindfulness, if you can just pull in these tiny little mindful moments throughout the day, the brain it works so much 100% in your favour.
So when you say mindfulness through the day, we talk about the one-legged and brushing your teeth, but give me an example of during the day. Like, let's say I've just gone out to lunch from my office.
And then all of a sudden you're starting to feel flat again, going, the morning started good, but then all of a sudden reality's coming
but I've got to do this.
And,
I've got my desk.
Picked you up at this and your work's pile high.
How do you use mindfulness then to escape that?
Yeah, there's a fair few different ideas that you can do. So one of them could be something that we call non-sleep deep rest protocols, and that's just a 10-minute guided meditation which completely recharges the brain. So whenever I'm talking to people about meditation, it's not like sort of spiritual ooze where we're cosmically floating in the ceiling. It's more about a scientific technique that will recharge the brain, right? Decrease the stress, make you feel more present. And so the non-sleep deep rest protocol one is really evidence-based, because I feel like there's a shift. There's almost like a trust shift happening at the moment in society where, like people like Mr. Beast, right, who does some great things. But for Gen Alpha, he's the most influential human right now with 1 billion YouTube clips.
Incredible.
Right? And so apple cider vinegar, right, where people are like juicing now for their cancer treatment instead of listening to their oncologist. So it's almost like as a society we let it go, okay, well, where's the evidence sitting?
TikTok,
right?
All this sort of stuff.
The TikTok, it's like
we had David G on only a few weeks ago as well too, and he's sort of like a king of meditation as well. And a bit sort of like you were saying too, it doesn't have to be, and even though sort of think, levitating and all this sort of stuff out wild there, they can be really simple things. And even in a 16-second breath thing, you can do it. So we're in the middle of the day. What do you do?
So
Chelsea?
you were just saying about the meditation.
So you can do that as an afternoon slump technique.
So your eyes are open. Is that what you're saying?
Eyes are closed.
Okay, eyes closed.
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
Completely changes the game. You could do breath work easily. You could get your feet out into the ground and ground down while you're having have a mindful coffee. Like there's a lot of different things that
Should you put it in your diary? Because those people that we were talking about.
Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Do you think that's a good move?
I think that's a good move.
Right.
So 2 to 3 p.m. in the afternoons is scheduled in my diary, like a 2 to 2:15 meeting with myself, where the team knows don't book this out with podcasts, don't book this out with meetings.
Meeting with myself. Do you love that?
It's so good. It's like it's prioritising yourself,
it really
isn't it?
is. Well, it's that whole thing. We get one vessel, right? We get one home. This is it. We don't take care of it. We have nowhere else to live. And so it's such a huge thing. Sometimes as high performers, we push and push and push and push and forget to refuel this. And it's the littlest of things. Like it's, as we were saying before, I drink coffee, I drink wine. I don't run 10Ks a day. Thank God.
Yes.
She's normal. Everyone else, she's normal.
Because I want to have a really great, fun life.
I love it.
But
balance,
there's definitely
balance.
As these little micro things we can do throughout the day that just brings us back into centre. And that's it. We just want to constantly come back into parasympathetic system because we're always in sympathetic emails, to-do, busy, yeah? So there's these... And another big component for me that stops me from burning, because I've been doing this now for 9 years, my biggest secret of not burning, I haven't had a sick day in 9 years, and I think it comes down to this. Every 6 weeks, I take a break. Now, having my own company, I can take a week off. I'm allowed to do that because it's my business. I can schedule a week off. But I've been finding corporate, they pace hard for 6 weeks. They take a weekend reset, come back 6 weeks on, weekend reset. And on that reset, what I said, I go off grid, so no one can find me, no phone, no emails, no socials. I completely nourish the system. So it's all, I just go back to go.
Does your rock go with you?
Pardon?
Your rock, does he go with you? Or do you go back?
He will go.
The two of you?
my husband and our daughter will come.
Oh, so
with
the
me.
three of you go.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll pull out of
right.
school.
Yeah.
And we will do that routinely. Sometimes
6
we
weeks.
will, because we have, we're quite independent also in our marriage. So I might go away with my girlfriends and go horse riding for a long weekend or whatever that looks like.
So it's like you take a weekend every sort of 6 weeks.
Yeah, like a long
I think
weekend.
that's a really great thing. It's sort of like
too.
time out, and I think it's probably healthy for any marriage anyhow, whether sometimes he comes with you or other times he
Absolutely.
doesn't.
Agree.
And you're looking at, you're looking at the long term.
Recheck.
Well, and how does it work with EQ? Can people join up or do you train? How does it work?
Yeah, thank you. So EQ is, so we work a lot with corporate because we're all ex-corporate, so we understand that world very, very well.
And what are some of the big corporate ones that you have too? You've got eBay and...
the clients, so pretty much all the big players,
Amazon
and Google and Microsoft, and
Doesn't
then
get
we've got
much
the
bigger,
banks.
does it?
Do you share the 6 week take a weekend? Do you share that?
Always.
Wow.
So we share with them having these resets, right?
Wow,
Because
okay.
you have to sustain this performance in corporate. And you need your high performers to be performing really well. But the last thing we want for them is to burn out from a sustainability. But you losing a good high performer, that is like just years of experience leaving your doors, right? And so on that weekend, we usually say to people, we give them ideas of what to do on that weekend, like in terms of a mindset reset. And so things like just nailing the basics, sleep, self-care, massages, eat clean, all those kinds of things. Cut the booze just for that weekend. That's all. If you're feeling a bit, it's not the time to go on a bender with your mates, that particular reset weekend. Around that for sure. But if you're feeling a bit burnt out, that's kind of the reset. And then on the Monday, if you come back to work and you're still feeling a little bit gassed out, phone call to the GP, right? Get the dashboard checked, get your blood work done and see what's going on there, because I think sometimes things can change on the dime, right? So we want to make sure that we're getting the body checked a couple of times a year with bloods.
And I think especially men too. A lot was sort of like really slower to go and get medical help too.
Yes,
true. That is a fact. Yeah. But it is interesting, Chelsea saying about a weekend every 6 weeks or once every 2 months, whatever. What fascinates me is often when people do that, I used to go to a place called Hopewood up in the foothills of the mountains with my sisters. My mum originally took me there. And a lot of people would get sicker when they'd stop. They'd stop the brain, they stop the gut because it was all cleansing.
Well, holidays. People would go on a holiday away to Fiji or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, my sister worked on the QE2 for years, and she said the hospital was always full, and people stop, and then the body goes, "What are you doing to me?" So that fascinates me too.
So the secret is in the shorter, sharper breaks. And
Right,
so
there you
think
go.
about
So
every
stops.
people
That's
get
a really
sick,
good
right?
tip.
Great.
At the end of the year, people stop for the 3
First
weeks, and
time.
they get the flu.
That's a real burnout, isn't
It's
it?
fascinating. I've watched it time and time again. So it's about managing yourself through the year.
Totally.
Here we go again, balancing yourself.
And even if
enjoy
you
the
don't
journey,
have
right?
the
Because you have
exactly.
things to look for. And in psychology, we have this thing called anticipatory joy. Because you speak to anyone going on a break 2 weeks before, how do they sound? Yeah, right.
When are you packing?
That's
Getting a
exactly
new
right.
outfit.
Yeah, all of that,
Ooh,
Nicola. Yeah.
Exactly. We're off to Hamilton Island
Yeah,
soon.
right. And you can look at your faces.
Yeah,
They're
that's
so happy
true.
and beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you've got that to look forward
Yes.
to.
Yeah.
And so the coffee tastes better, the sky looks bluer. You go on the break.
Yeah.
You might get a bit of post-holiday blues when you get, don't you worry, in 6 weeks' time you've got another break coming
Oh,
up.
wow.
And you've got these, and then the
It's
life
such a
is
good
the journey.
thing. And, it doesn't have to be for listeners.
No, it
too.
could be a
It can-
caravan on a bloody
exactly.
beach
It doesn't
somewhere.
have to be an
Get over the
expensive
money
thing.
bit. I
No,
agree.
that's right.
And
Camping.
sometimes it's you're
Stop making excuses.
You're saving money because you can go camping, doing something different as well.
True, that is true.
Walking on the beach,
Absolutely.
time
Think
out,
outside
hearing
the
waves
square.
of
Yeah.
Mother Nature and all that sort of stuff
All
there.
that stuff that we know that's
which
great for
which
us.
is so
Don't
good
be the
for
ant in the
us.
circle. I just saw this guy draw a circle with a Texticolor.
Yeah.
And put an ant in the middle, and the ant would go to either side of the circle and he wouldn't escape the circle. Then he removed the circle and the ant would just take off. So I only just saw that the other day, but I just thought we all put those parameters around us.
Absolutely.
But hey, get rid of that, rub it out.
Rub it out.
Go.
I love
and
that.
go.
And also what a more enjoyable life.
Yes.
What a more enjoyable. I mean, I
yes.
think sometimes as a society, society tells us that success is financial wealth.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we take away everything that actually we value, like family, our health, holidays, creating memories with people, and what the journey is about, right? And so then we get caught up in this trap. And I'm like, hang on a second. like, what is important to you, Jen?
On their deathbed, what do they say? What do they think about? You know, we sort of say that so often.
Yeah.
I wished I had.
And what were you saying is sort of like, what's your idea of the best super?
Yeah, your superannuation is like your well-being, right? Like, do you think of it as super because, and this is a huge.
Love your saying. You know?
Oh, thank you.
It's a number plate on a car, or a sticker on the back window. I love
it's so interesting, right? Because you
love what you do.
At Gwingana, I was with a bunch of financial people, and we're talking about super.
Beautiful
invest, right?
retreat.
And I said, yeah, absolutely. I'm all about investing financially and making sure we're secure. But what about this, right? The body, the vessel, because at the end of the day, right, you can have all the money, as we know, you can have all the money in the world. And if it's that whole quote, like the healthy person has many goals, the unhealthy person has one goal. And that is life. And so often we skip this, we skip taking care of it, right, to push more ahead, and then we're forced to take care of our illness, however that kind of presents
And that's
itself.
body, mind, spirit too, which you learned firsthand.
You did. And I think that's with gratitude as well, isn't it? You know, really being, grateful for, like, I guess we feel so grateful because we love what it was saying, love what we do, but we feel so grateful. Like right now, we've got Chelsea in front of us. I mean, how lucky are we here?
Luckiest people
and
in
for
the
all
world.
our listeners,
We are.
having you right here is great.
So true.
How do our listeners sort of get to hear you or tune into you?
And the book too.
Oh, it's
Mindful High Performer. They can get that anywhere. Oh, and
Anywhere.
just listen to it on
audio too.
Yes,
and you're doing another one as well.
I am, yeah. So another one's in the
you've
making.
talked about it more in here.
Everything's there. They can follow us at EQ Minds or Chelsea Pottenger Official.
We'll put these all on our notes as well.
And the other thing I have to mention, I'm so excited about.
Yes.
I think this is juicy goss, I think. We love a bit of juicy
I know, we just saw it.
Am I right that congratulations on being accepted into the Hall of Speaking Fame Agents? Harry Walker, you're sharing a roster with Tom Brady, Serena Williams.
Yeah.
I mean,
Shaquille O'Neal.
Up there, babe.
Who else?
You are up there, Ghazali. Congratulations.
Tell us about
That's
that.
huge.
That is
Thank
huge.
you so much.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you.
So what's happening?
And
so many ways.
They're going to represent me for the USA, so I'll be doing a lot more work over in the USA.
Wow.
And how that came about, again, it's like
We're
this
coming.
whole...
Yeah.
Oh my God, please come. Please
We
come.
mean it. We love it.
But how that all unfolded was literally by having a conversation with someone at a hotel restaurant and talking about family and holidays, and he told me he sold carpets. And I'm like, oh, that's great. I said, what carpet fibres do you enjoy? And I'm thinking, I don't know if it's what this guy's talking about.
Give me another wine.
Exactly. I need a wine for this conversation for carpet fibres.
I love it.
And then he's like, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm speaking at this conference tomorrow in Florida. And he's like, oh my God, my client's speaking tomorrow. And he's like, I part owner of this agency, and
so you never know who you're speaking to. And like when Shelley was saying, you never know who's listening to you as well.
That's true.
Nicola's great at
networking.
networking.
It's also like being authentic and genuine, and I understand why he goes with carpet sales, right? Because whenever he says he owns this agency, people hit him up for
wanker.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Wow.
But anyway, so the next day I was on stage with Wayne Gretzky, who is an ice hockey goat. And this agent watched me and he said, I think we should represent you. No one speaks so honestly about postnatal. It's needed here in America. You do great scientific practical tools. You're a great performer. And I said, look, to be honest, you've got Wayne on your books and all these amazing. I said, it's not worth your time. I'm a rounding error for your business. So I said, you just do your thing. And so, right?
Yeah.
The following Friday, hey, Aussie, you haven't sent me your media kit. We really want to have a look at it. And so I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll send it across. And I said, but no pressure, right? And anyway, they're like, we would love to sign you. And so it's been he said, what you can do is an impact work in the US.
This is hot off the press,
health.
guys.
Yes.
So we're really proud of you, Chelsea.
Yes, we are.
In so many ways.
And so when does that start?
So that starts now. So next year, we're looking at engagements at the moment. And so what they do is they'll go find clients, they'll present them to me, and depending on my schedule, whether I can get across there. But I'll be positioning myself between here and the USA.
Well, we went over to hear Lewis Howes last year. We just ducked over
great.
for 4 days. Yeah,
Did you?
We literally did.
Where was he presenting? In Austin?
No, he was actually in LA.
It was UCLA.
Yes.
It was brilliant.
Yeah,
so good.
Which was great.
Yeah,
and there
so
was
we'll
Esther
pop over and see
Perel
you.
and Joe Dispenza.
I love Esther.
I don't you love
her?
We're always running out of time, but I do want to ask you just some quick tips on around confidence. I mean, I started up front about my fear, river of fear originally beneath the
And kind of a mask.
the face of confidence. That's just one example. But is there any tips you can give our listeners who are going, I can't do it? Well, actually, you know what? I can.
Yeah.
Any simple tips just in rounding up the beautiful
absolutely.
interview?
So for confidence, so there's a few things. One, and this is just from personal experience, was learning about loving kindness, compassion, meditation. I think that's a game changer where you learn to love yourself. And so that you don't need to go to the Nantin Temple for that. You can literally jump on Insight Timer or Headspace or Calm. And look for that
our producer Sam's got her own one too. Mind Gym.
Mind Gym.
Yeah, Mind Gym.
Exactly.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's Sam too.
Yeah.
And that's been her whole thing too, is on self-love and self-compassion, and it's such a great thing.
I think that's huge. And then I think it's having people in your corner. So always share your ideas with people who are big minds and who are going to cheer you on and share them with dreams and goals. You know, and because they're going to be, if you're finding it hard to back your own self-efficacy, they're going to be that person.
Because there's also the tall poppy syndrome in Australia.
I hate that.
I know.
I hate it.
So
it's such a fixed mindset.
I know.
Be aware of that, guys. It's not
Yeah.
you. It's just, I don't know where it comes from or why.
Hopefully that's changing now with the world globally being a smaller place that way, and we're
so
all
back
connected
yourself
a bit
with the
more.
right people.
That's
I
huge.
love that.
Have
Get your
people in
right tribe.
corner. Yeah.
love
And then
it.
I think the more that you do, then you build up your own self-efficacy. So one of the confidence things that I do as well every year is I do something that I'm completely crap at. You know, like I learnt to surf. I then learnt how to horse ride. This year I'm doing improv in front of a
course
bunch
you
of
bloody
drunks.
are.
Yes,
Yeah.
no. But you're challenging yourself though, aren't you? Which I think
Exactly.
is really
So-
good. Like, you know, when you started, when you played golf for the first time, I was like, no, I'm not coming for you, Nicola, I'm not
I
going to do
said
it
old
again.
people play that.
And then by the end of it, because she's saying, no, she's I'm going to do it once for you, whatever. And then next week, you know, when she's buying clubs and doing the whole thing.
Nico's just going, like, she's doing
But it
this.
is also,
oh my God,
but
here we
it's
go
trying
again.
something
That's
new.
it.
They say it's good for the brain
isn't
too.
it?
And where you
Yeah,
where
out of
you're
your
gonna fail.
comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you see
We're
yourself
all
get better.
hopeless. Yeah,
We're all
exactly.
hopeless at
One more
most
last
things.
tip, confidence tip for a listener who feels that they'll never be confident or I can't do that because I couldn't stand up on that stage.
Ooh, okay.
It's a biggie,
Yeah.
but simple, like in the mind. What could you say?
Something that helps me get through it is that whenever I get up on stage or speak in front of people, it's not about me. I always think if I can help one person in the room, right, then what happens there is that is a successful day to me. And I think about that all the time because so often we get scared with all eyes on us. And as soon as you deflect it back to the person in the room, the one person, whether you're in a group of 4 or you're a group of thousands, and you're like, if I can help one person in here, what a beautiful day that would
Okay,
look like.
okay,
bravo,
I'm
I've gotta
teary,
say, that is
and
a-
I've got goosebumps again. That's twice
and
in this
can I just say
interview.
too, that is such an incredible tip,
Even
tip.
through my glasses on.
Yeah, all round too. Look at that.
a
Was
glass.
like,
The hell's
you know,
that
and
about?
even when people sort of saying, I've got nothing to do
Oh my
today,
God.
or, you know, we've got perhaps some of our listeners who are even older, we're going, well, you know what? Stop worrying about maybe volunteer. You know, and it's a similar kind of thing going all of a sudden. Stop thinking about myself. I'm useless. No one. I'm not working anymore. I'm not doing anything.
Absolutely.
Help someone else.
Absolutely.
And they end up making new friends, having a great.
And it's, you know what, Olga, you're right what you're saying, because taking the weight off you, you're helping
It's
them
such
over,
a,
you're
that
over
is
there.
one of. I'm so glad you said
agree.
that.
That was beautiful. I've loved this interview
Thank
so
you, Di.
much.
Me
I know.
too.
I mean,
you.
I hope the guys listening are the same. I feel like this this gorgeous, uplifting energies washed over me. Yeah.
An Aussie
Thank
girl,
you.
and you've certainly, you know,
Yeah.
gone through your own battles, so you're
You
living it,
have.
and you're still continuing on to do so well. So it's great. We're going to have that, and also, you know, with the Gidget Foundation is a great one. They do have a great lunch, and they have many other sort of fundraisers as well. But it's just such an important thing that you're doing, and you know, EQ Minds, your book. Talks, everything else. So, Chelsea, you know, thank you so much. We've got a couple of our signature questions. Did you want to?
Oh, God, yeah. I forgot about. I've been so caught up in this
I
interview.
know,
That's
I
gone
know.
off out of my brain. What makes you happy?
What makes me happy? My daughter's laugh, horse riding, surfing, a cheese board with a glass of red wine, and spending a really good time with friends and family and creating memories. That's my happiness play. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is. I don't know how you can beat that. You know, like I think that's, you know,
It
we're
says it
sometimes
all.
just saying, you know, like those simple things, but they're those things, you know, so important. Now,
true.
if you could share a back fence with anybody on planet Earth,
Ooh.
Chelsea Pottenger, who would it be and why?
It's going to have to be St. Margie.
I love
Wow.
I love
My
her.
mum is honestly like my soulmate.
Oh,
She
wow. Well, she
is-
better be listening
We
to this
love her.
podcast
Oh,
and get
she's
all
the
her
I don't
best.
friends
even know her,
there.
and I love her.
She's the best.
Margie, you
Isn't
better
it?
listen.
Very
Come
strong
on,
woman.
shoot us a
And
note.
I bet your dad's equally as divine.
He's great too, but I definitely have a more.
Yeah, I
you
get
know,
that.
Like
I
I just,
more
love
directive.
it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
it's-
Ada, was it her grandmother, your grandmother
Yeah.
as well too?
Same thing.
Beautiful
And what
line,
advice, if you could give your 20-year-old self, would you say to her?
I
Whoa.
would say find people that you laugh with and spend more time with them, because it's like your environment shapes everything, and you only need a handful of really incredible friends for the environment to play the right way. And it's kind of like, you know, happiness isn't one day you just wake up being happy. It's like it's a consistent thing of actually, well, who are you spending time with? What are you consuming in your mouth? What are you consuming through your eyeballs? And that environment play, like who you end up with and marry and have kids to, is such an important choice. But who you choose to spend time with as your friendship circle is everything. And if you ever walk out of a situation and you feel like there's knives thrown in your back, you just spring clean those people out of your life.
Oh, that's a
because
goodie.
the universe will literally create space for someone else more amazing to walk in.
Oh,
and so that's what I would say.
beautiful. That is so good. Well, what a great
God,
way
you're
to end this
annoying.
session.
Even that was perfect. Damn it.
No,
No, I'm
no,
joking.
You're
You're beautiful.
That is
You're like
absolutely beautiful.
a breath of fresh air in this world.
Well, you know what? We'd love your mum on the podcast, St.
Yeah.
Margaret. You know,
You gotta get her on, for God's sake.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's been
so
great.
everyone, thank you for listening, and also subscribe on YouTube, because the numbers are coming up, and you can actually watch Chelsea on this one.
Yeah, that's true.
It's really great.
So I have to put extra lipstick on now on YouTube. Damn it. Damn it.
And don't forget to rate and review. And Di has her own rating system, Chelsea. Yeah, no, we've got
It's actually out of 5, so
yeah, so
we're
we've got
going to
Chelsea
give
in the-
Chelsea, well, she in the
Now, high
stratosphere,
performer.
but it has
Come
to
on.
be 10 out of 5 because of the CEO, your daughter, Clara. She's 10, is she not?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it's
there you
10 out.
go.
I think she's
Oh,
an
you've doubled
inspiration.
it.
Keep an eye on her. 10 out of 5.
We'll be back in your ears next week. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
You're very humble too.
Ciao, ciao.
Take care.
Thank